This is the truth about passport bros. As a coach, I've been helping thousands of guys over the years learn the exact skills to be able to meet and attract women in the West. And yes, it definitely works. So I think that these passport bros are just looking for some excuse and wanting to play victim so that they can, I don't know, go off and try something that seems easier, when in fact, it seems a little ridiculous that you would travel all the way across the seas to a new country to then attract some woman and bring her back to the United States. Or maybe you just stay there and you don't live in the US anymore. Okay, fine for you, but there's an easier way to attract women than having to come up with some crazy, brilliant plan to leave the United States, which, let's be honest, is not practical for most men.
Hello YouTube, it's your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, coming at you again with another YouTube video. The title of this video is called Passport Bros is a movement that's impractical and inefficient, says pickup artists. As I was scrolling through various videos, I happened to stumble upon the clip that I showed at the beginning of this video, in which there is a pickup artist slash dating coach who pretty much, his pushback on the Passport Bro movement is that he feels it's very inefficient, it's ridiculous, and men don't necessarily need to, get a plane ticket and move out of the country to necessarily find like a wife. If they would just, stick to his techniques, learn his strategies, they'll be very efficient in finding a wife here in the States or in the West. And there's no really need for like the Passport Bro movement. So this is similar to some of the pushback we've gotten for some of our past detractors. And so let me just reemphasize some of this. So here's the thing. Most guys in general, I would assume a lot of the guys listening at some point in time, they have, did a lot of the red pill stuff in which they learned, a lot of these strategies, like from Mystery and, a lot of the pickup artist community and so forth. It was very big, as you know, in the early 2000s, with the pickup artist show and that kind of thing. But my whole issue with the whole PUA thing is that, well, yeah, it does teach you social skills. It does teach you how to go out. But a lot of times, a lot of these pickup artists, I never really see a lot of the receipts from their students. Like, of course, like Mystery, and even the guy that I showed at the beginning of the video, I mean, he looks like a decent, well put together man. I'm assuming he's pretty tall, so I'm assuming just based off that, he probably does well even without the techniques. He probably can do a lot of sloppy techniques and still do pretty well. But my whole pushback on him and a lot of the guys is that whenever I see their students don't get the same type of woman. A lot of times the women they get is very like average. They could have probably in many cases got that without any of those techniques. All they really have to do is just go out there and play the numbers game. They would at least get in many cases the same type of woman. So I don't really see it. So here's the thing. Of course, if you're a pickup artist, dating coach, and you're selling a book that's say $10, maybe you do have some tips. Because here's the thing. Even when we go overseas, of course, I give tips on whether find women that make girlfriends and wives, and Austin Holloman has done the same thing. Many guys have done the same thing. So it's nothing wrong with sharing notes and tickets and stuff. But my whole thing is that it's one thing if you're doing that and you put together a book that say it costs $10 and that kind of thing. Okay, maybe you have some good tips, about how to, the best, places to take a girl on a date or something like that. Okay, maybe I just want to buy it for that. That's fine. But a lot of these PUA guys and the dating coaches, they got $1,000 courses, $3,000 courses, $5,000 courses, and all this stuff like that. For what? I mean, and again, whenever you think about an investment, I'm always, you always got to think about, what at the end of your investment, what are you expecting to receive? I see no point in paying $5,000 for a course just to get mediocre women in the States. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. You can literally take that same $5,000, pick a country in South America, stay there for a month, and literally you have girlfriends left and right. Same thing, a plane ticket to the Philippines is you could probably get one a little less than $1,000. You take that plane ticket, you go there. Probably within 2 weeks, you already have a girlfriend, and they'll look, in many cases, better than some of the women you would have got taking these PUA courses. So that doesn't make any sense. And you still have money left over if you consider how cheap and inexpensive things are in the Philippines. Now, I know from his perspective, he might be saying about the efficiency. He might be saying, well, you're spending all this money on plane trips and hotels and stuff. But think about all the guys in the States who are paying foodie dates. And again, these foodie dates, this is not like back in the 90s or like early 2000s where a girl, she would have been happy with you guys just going to like the local restaurant, maybe spending like $60 on a date. Now a lot of those women, they kind of scoff at that. They expect you to take them to these high-end restaurants, $300, $400, that kind of thing, and then just for them to give you a kiss on the cheek, if that, at the end of the night. It just, I mean, so to be perfectly honest, to me, that's less inefficient to me. I'm sorry, more inefficient to me, because I feel it's actually more efficient for you to get your passport and use that same money you would have spent on one of these women looking for a foodie date or trying to simp for one of the women's here. If you would have just took that same amount of money, put that into a little plane ticket, and you don't even have to go to the Philippines. You can go to the DR. Just go there and set up shop. Especially if you live in the South, you're right along like the Mexican border, or you're like somewhere in Florida, Georgia, Louisiana. A quick trip to like the DR, even Cuba, or one of the little islands there. I mean, literally, I mean, you're talking about like maybe $250. I mean, $250, what you would have spent for like a table at one of these clubs. I mean, because if you think about, one time I went to California, the tables there, they were charging at least like $2,000. You know, I did, and again, and this is only because it was one of my friends. It was his bachelor party, so we went there. But normally, I wouldn't spend that much for anything. But we had to divvy up each other, put together money to get a table for drinks and that kind of thing. But my whole point is, why spend $2,000 on a table to have drinks? That $2,000, you could have took a trip down to Brazil, had a hotel, and had drinks, and had girls come over, and go out to the mall and meet girls there. Or if you're very smart about it, you don't one of the apps. A lot of little apps down there in Brazil. Latin American Cupid is that's where I met a lot of my girls off Latin American Cupid. Use that. I'm trying to think of another one. Be careful with Tinder, only because, of course, you got the for now I gotta be careful on YouTube. I'll say the scope queens, that kind of thing. You you gotta vet if you're in Colombia, but you don't hear about it as much in Brazil. Not that it doesn't happen, you just gotta be careful. But Latin American Cupid works well there. Tinder has, when I was there, it had some success, but not like a lot. But you could use that, go down there, meet some girls there, and that would have cost you less than the cost of that table. And you would have had girls that look better than the mediocre women you would have got from just using your PUA techniques at one of these random clubs, where the girls just go there for the club just to get drinks, or they're waiting for Drake to show up, or Denzel, like Leonardo DiCaprio or somebody like that, and they only want to hang out with them dudes in like the little VIP section. They don't really want. A lot of times they're just going to the club just to show out and put pictures on Instagram, which is why, unbeknownst to a lot of people, a lot of clubs have been getting shut down. They haven't been making as much money because there's not guys there buying drinks for the women. Because a lot of men have figured out, quite to the contrary of what this guy is saying, that it is actually inefficient for you to just be going to nightclubs trying to talk to women who generally are just not going to be that interested if you're not if you're not a 6-figure, 6 feet tall guy with a 6-pack, that kind of thing. They're just not that interested. We got, again, women right now who, I think there was one video where there was a woman that literally said that even a doctor is not doing enough for her. He needs to be bringing in more than just that, which is just utterly ridiculous. So with these standards, a lot of guys just saying that it's not efficient to even deal with the women. So even with those PUA techniques, you still understand. My philosophy has always been the Chris Rock's philosophy, in which he always said that before you even approach a woman, she already has in her mind like the phenotype or the type of guy in her mind that she'll kind of date. So even before you even approach her, she already has a sense of whether or not you're kind of like within like the group of guys that she would actually even date. So before you even talk to her, she either has her shield up or she has her shield down. In many cases, if you're not a type, her shield is already down, and she's not even, regardless of what kind of words you put together, she's not even really listening. You're pretty much invisible to her. It doesn't matter. I don't care what type of PUA techniques you got. If she's not open to you, even dating a guy like you, for example, they just say that she's a girl that only dates blonde guys with blonde hair or something like that. If you happen to be a brunette, she only wants to date blonde dudes who are tall. She's not even looking at you. That doesn't make any sense. Or the opposite. Let's say like she doesn't really do a light skinned guy thing. She only wants a dark skinned dude. If you're not dark skinned, she's not really checking for you. So what I'm saying is, a lot of times, in my personal opinion, it really comes down to the woman having a certain prototype in her mind, the type of guy she wants to date. You either are close to that prototype or you're not. And I can say that because they were saying that men between the ages, I believe, 18 and 32 had any poon Poon is within like the last 2 years, and they were saying that there was a rise in male virginity and that kind of thing. And I think they were even saying that the levels of single men was outpacing the levels of single women, which means what that means a lot of the women are dating the same men. So what I'm saying is, and we go to Tinder. I think they were saying out of all the profiles, women only swipe right on like 4 of the profiles or something like that. So in that kind of scenario, it just, the writing's on the wall. I mean, Passport Bros is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as more and more guys come to the conclusion that, to contrary what this guy said, it's actually more efficient and more practical to become a Passport Bro in 2024, especially with the way the inflation is and with these high standards and so forth. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, especially like I said, if he's talking about money with the inflation, everything like that. Who want to pay $200 for a date to date a woman who more than likely is just not going to be that, just using you like for a foodie date? It doesn't even make any sense. He's better off saving that money up until he can hustle and get enough money up to go travel for his next trip. Go down to, like I said, one of these countries, maybe in South America, or if he has the money, which I really encourage most guys to do, to go to Southeast Asia. I really feel like you're going to find the most, submissive, sophisticated women there out of all the women. I really would say they tend to be the most warm and friendliest. Like I believe, in my personal opinion, I think your percentage of success is higher in Southeast Asia than it is anywhere else. Although me personally, I've had success, and most Passport Bros have success in South America, Africa, Eastern Europe, and so forth. But in my personal opinion, it's even higher if you're willing to go to Southeast Asia. It's because of the culture there. Like in many cases, women outnumber the men, and then and also like the women are just brought up to want to be family women and that kind of thing, and they're not used to getting like a lot of male attention. If you think about it, most people, when they take their vacation, they don't really go to Asia because they don't like doing like the plane trip. They usually go down to, like say, South America, or maybe Western Europe or so forth. So a lot of women in the East, they don't really get as much attentions from like foreigners and that kind of thing. So you still, in some cases, have a little bit of allure there, in which you're still somewhat exotic. So not to say there's not like that in Brazil, South America, because there are like, again, cities in South America that most people are not really visiting. Everyone wants to go to Medellin, but no one wants to try out, Barranquilla or one of these other cities in Medellin where there's a lot less foreigners, So, so I kind of, touched on a lot about but my personal opinion, just to kind of, go back to what the guy is saying. It makes no sense for you to pay for these $1,000 courses without this guy showing you receipts and showing you how the guys he's taught have got the same quality woman that he's getting. In many cases, they're not going to get it. And if you really press him, he'll probably tell you the same thing. He'll probably just say something like, results are going to vary and that kind of thing. But again, what's the whole? I don't see the purpose of me paying that kind of money when I can literally go down to one of those countries. As you've seen in many Austin Holloman's videos and International Passport as well, he does interviews with a lot of women in these various countries in Southeast Asia and Japan and so forth. A lot of women there are just down to earth. You don't have to put up a front. You don't have to pretend to be anything. A lot of times with the PUA thing, you're trying to social proof and make the women feel like you're part of a circle of like men who have status and that kind of thing. Versus in other countries, as I said before, you go down to South America, even a guy who's selling mangoes and that kind of thing, that guy has his options. You go over into like Asia, the guy that's there, selling a little, he might have like a tray of selling like medicine and candy bars and stuff. And that guy has his pick of the litter as well in the Philippines. And that guy doesn't have a huge amount of status. He still is getting, pretty good looking women, and a lot of them fit and friendly. And he doesn't have to put up a front. So why try to figure out a system that's trying to get you to social proof and kind of fake it till you make it, when you can literally just make it by just going overseas? And when you're in those countries, because you come with a certain amount of status and our dollar's so strong, you already have made it when you pretty much step off the plane. You tell me which is more, efficient, or which one is more practical. It doesn't make sense to me. But you guys in the comments, I think I said enough, to kind of destroy this guy's argument. But you guys in the comment section, tell me what you think. Do you think it's more efficient to do the PUA thing, or more efficient to do Passport Bros? You think this guy's completely wrong? Am I completely wrong? Let me know what you think in the comments. Please subscribe if you have not, especially to my ghost listeners. I have a lot of ghost listeners. Please subscribe to my channel so I can grow the channel. I can do more for the channel. I have more time to give you better content, better receipts, and that kind of thing. Please share if you can. Hit the thumbs up. And until next time, this is your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, signing off.
Dear Passport Boys, dear Passport Bros, stop calling yourself Passport Boys and Passport Bros. Are you going to the Philippines to look for a Filipina queen or what? So stop calling yourself Passport Boys and Passport Bros. Start calling yourself Passport Kings.